All right, pretty much ready to go.
All right, welcome to Alex and Derek discuss critical race theory.
Oh no, that's not what's happening. Oh no. But I'm Derek. This is my buddy Alex, and today we're going to talk about the ending of The Expanse.
And we are not going to talk about race at all.
Well, a little bit, I guess, for The Expanse. I mean, oh boy, this is going to require a lot more editing than I thought.
Welcome to 10 minutes of footage, 4 hours of filming.
So anyways, we're going to talk about the finale of The Expanse. A little history on the franchise for us. It was actually the book Leviathan Wakes, I believe, was a recommendation from you back in the day when I first got my Kindle Fire. And so it actually was one of the first purchases I made, and I really enjoyed it. Normally I don't go in for that kind of like dual narrative sort of style, but it really worked in this case.
It was just dual narrative, wasn't it? It was Holden and Miller only. Yeah.
Yep, it was just the two of them back and forth, completely different theaters. You had your detective story and you had kind of like your space opera, and it worked for me. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah, it was this weird like noir detective novel. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good little space opera. So I was excited for the sequel when the sequel came out. Caliban's War, I want to say.
Yes.
Sure. Why not? Who cares?
The third one was Abaddon's Gate.
Okay, so then Caliban's War. And I was not as
say
thrilled.
with a surety.
I guess we could Google it, but we're not going to. We're not invested. I didn't care for that one as much. You and I have had this conversation, but I didn't like how they put so many people and then had so many different narratives, but they were all in the same spot, and they were kind of just retreading previous plot points that were already well established and discussed. So that wasn't great for me, but I was thinking about it recently, and I think it was probably hurt by the fact that when I bought Leviathan Wakes on Kindle, it came with a free copy of The Dragon's Path, the first book, and The Dagger and the Coin.
Right.
So having really enjoyed that, I was a little miffed that Caliban's War wasn't following that kind of level of excellence. Also, the novellas weren't great for The Expanse. I mean, they were expensive.
I didn't buy any of them.
Oh, I did. I bought, what is it, like Gods or of Mars or whatever it was, the one about Bobby Draper. And then I also bought the Butcher of Anderson Station. And they were nothing burgers. Like, I spent all that money for stuff that doesn't even play into it. It's like, it's already well established. So I was kind of soured to the franchise. But then they announced Amazon was going to do the TV show. I was like, this is a universe perfect for a TV show.
Didn't Syfy start by doing the TV show and then Amazon?
Oh yeah, it was sci-fi. Oh, Syfy. Yeah, right. S-Y-F-Y. He's right, not me. But yes, because then Amazon picked it up when it got canceled.
That's the first time I've ever heard that.
You're going to hear it a lot. Throughout a lot of these videos, because I'm not going to go through and edit it and be like, so when I heard Sci-Fi, or Syfy as it was called, announced they were going to do the Expanse show, Alex, not Amazon. So I was shocked at how well they used their budget on Sci-Fi.
Yes, I mean, Sci-Fi has done some decent shows for what they get. Z Nation.
I've never seen Z Nation.
Surprisingly decent.
Well, so yeah, I was really impressed with the start of the show, and I thought they did a pretty good job adapting the dual storylines and making a lot of sense early on. And
I do think they kind of flunked the detective noir story in the first season.
Yeah, well,
but I mean, are you supposed to go full noir detective and then cut to hard sci-fi? I don't think you are.
No, I don't think that would work as well. I think
not on TV.
And especially because you have to maintain, like when you read, you can have a different narrative style, but when you're watching, you got to maintain visual similarities. And
exactly.
I mean, they tried to do it with like, what was it Arrow Station? I think it was in the first one. I don't remember. Because it's not Ceres Station, because that's in the show. That's where the Belters are the whole time, the OPA. But I think it was Arrow Station, and so we're gonna get into spoilers about the whole thing anyway. We didn't read a lot of the books, so if we're wrong about some of the stuff, we're trying to remember, but we're not that invested in it that we went back to watch any of this or reread anything, or even couldn't be bothered to Google. So, I mean, the finale was, as of filming, last night, so 6-episode finale, which I guess we'll just get right to it. I enjoyed the world building in the early seasons. I thought they did. My least favorite part was always kind of the proto-molecule stuff, because it always kind of seemed just a little too John Carpenter's The Thing for me. I don't mind it because I think space should be full of horror, but especially in these more recent seasons, they really amped up like the space drama, like when you get Marco Inaros starting like this rebellion against like the Inners and the Belters, and you know, I liked that a lot. I thought there was a lot more room for character stuff, then, oh no, it's a blue monster man.
See, with the proto-molecule, I always got the sense that it was alive and it was part of the sci-fi in that they were trying to learn what it was doing and what its purpose was. It always felt to me like it should be, like it had a purpose. Like it had its own agenda. And to me, that got abandoned. Like on Venus, wasn't it setting up this giant city, like out of...
That became the transwarp gate. Remember, it flies out beyond the belt, and I think it's beyond like Jupiter or something. I don't know. Feel free to fact check me. I don't care. And it creates that giant gate, and then there's that whole story about how they can't go into the gate with their weapons because the ships are being destroyed, and there's that station inside.
Right, correct. But it was there. It was building its ring, or like it was self
replicating. I don't know.
It had an agenda there. It was building things. It was, and I mean, like it was able to affect organic matter, and it was able to do all these things. And then when they set it up, the Miller Ghost comes and
walks Holden through that weird orb station in the center. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I did kind of lose some of that narrative thread on that too. Like, and they're talking about like there's like I don't even know what they call them. Like that red energy field. It's like a progenitor kind of thing.
They called it the entity.
The entity, or like it was the artifact, or when we know that it wants to destroy like protomolecule tech or whatever. And
right, what destroyed the people who made the protomolecule
was like that red entity stuff. Yeah, and I'm sure it gets fleshed out in the books, but I'm not the show.
Are you sure?
I'm not sure. I'm actually not sure it gets fleshed out in the books at all. Like I said, I couldn't be bothered to Google. I'm not that interested in it. But I liked the show quite a bit because I thought it visually was very stylish. Watching them try and have like realistic space dogfights, one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Like ships flipping and adjusting, and the crash couches and stuff.
And the way that they talked about resupplying, and they just didn't have infinite ammo and stuff. That was...
It was neat.
Like it wasn't just swarms of ships coming down on them and they were just shooting them down left and right. It was like I could take on one ship and then I need to go home, basically.
Yeah, it really was. It's like we've been out here for a while and it's like, what do we have for torpedoes? They're like 3, and they're like, oh no, like we're not gonna.
Yeah, because you saw what happened when Marcos and Aros' ship sent 12 at the Rocinante.
Yeah, Rocinante.
I don't know how to say it.
Rocinante.
But every time they pronounce it, I was like,
I know it's Don Quixote's mount.
yes,
because I think they said it.
But they launched 12 of them at
Rocinante.
all of them were shot down. So having 3 torpedoes wouldn't be that useful, probably.
Point defense cannons really became like quite valuable, especially because they do a few of those flips where they come up close and just start peppering each other's hulls with the PDCs.
Yeah.
It was awesome. So I really did quite enjoy the show, and I thought when it moved to Amazon and the episodes started becoming like 55 or 60 minutes as opposed to 45, I really enjoyed those extra 10 minutes because they could kind of move slower or maybe have like 1 or 2 more scenes.
Right, and they didn't have to worry about the 42 minutes exactly.
Yes.
You know that they probably had like a 1 hour about.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works.
Me either, but I
don't know how Biazos works.
Fair. But I don't even think he's aware that they have that franchise.
I think he was the one that actually saved it specifically. He said, "I want more space."
That wouldn't surprise me. A lot of like columnists and stuff like that I read. A lot of like who I would consider, whether you think Bezos is intellectual or not, is really doesn't matter. He's the Amazon guy, so he's got to have something going on.
He's smart.
Yeah.
Clearly.
But like a couple other people who I read like a lot of their stuff are always very excited about the Expanse, and just I think there is something about that gritty human nature in space that we haven't seen. Like there's no like chosen one. I mean, Holden is as close as we get to a chosen one, but he's kind of like just unfortunate timing, and then he becomes a political pawn.
But we see in season 6 that he is basically the chosen one, because they keep saying, well, man that no one could disagree with, someone who's been on all sides and involved in every major human conflict for the last 3 years.
But then he walks away immediately. Like he's not interested in it. It's just
so
not his thing.
I did read something about the book that someone mentioned, because I went onto Reddit real quick and I was like, I wonder what people are saying about the finale on their Reddit. And these people had all read the book.
Okay.
And they all very much liked it.
Yeah.
But like apparently Holden refused immediately the position in the novels.
Oh.
And
so there wasn't as much of his politicking in this one.
And they were saying that they were very upset. Like they were like, when that scene happened and he accepted, I was so upset. and then he resigned, and yes, they were like, okay, that was perfect, and I was like, yeah,
Nice.
that does fit with his
That
character
checks
that
with
they
chart
wanted
then.
to. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad about that. I thought, as far as finales go, because I had read, because I was very concerned when it was going to be only 6 episodes. There's too much going on. They're building things in these early episodes. And, like, there's no way. Why did you introduce a new storyline on Laconia?
Yeah, I think so.
And then I was like, they're not resolving this. So I was like, are they expecting everybody to go to the internet and be like, we want more of our stories? Or I read an article recently that said they were pretty confident this was a good point to pause. Whether they were going to get more seasons or not, at least they could finish a story without having to finish the entire series. And if they get to come back to it, great. If they get to do spin-offs, great. But if not, at least it's like a good kind of like transition/pause point.
Okay, that makes sense to me because I thought that this was like, all right. So for me, like they're losing their second network. So for me, it seems clear that they were told, like, you got told you have one more season.
Yeah, that's kind of how it
Wrap
felt
up
to
the
me.
show, and that's what they should be focusing on, right? In my opinion, like, you have one more season. Let's get this done. Let's tell your story. And then I don't know whose idea 6 episodes was, but
Big mistake.
because I remember I was talking to you and I just watched episode 4. I'm like, how are they going to wrap this up in like 4 to 6 more episodes? And you're like, dude, there's 2 more. I was like, oh my god!
That's
I was
true.
like halfway through 4, so really it was
That was
one and a half more episodes.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there, I'm watching this, and I was, all right, I'll get to my reaction to the end. I was annoyed.
Yeah.
I was really annoyed because they get to the end of, they're like, here's this, okay. So when I first read the first novel, I actually read the introduction, and something that I remember them saying is that they wanted to write, they have sci-fi where they've been to the future, where we're spread across the galaxy.
Yeah.
They have sci-fi where we're still on Earth, and there's no sci-fi about the transition between Earth and the intergalactic society.
Okay.
And so they wanted to write the sci-fi between our solar system and other solar systems, and that was their goal in writing this. And so when I get to the end of the Expanse series, and the ending is, well, our conflict within the solar system is resolved.
Well,
It was
air quotes resolved. Yeah.
well, who knows? We'll never know.
We'll never know.
It was so when we get to that, the ending is just with the context of what I recall and what I thought the purpose of these novels, what the story was. It resolves with the end of conflict in the solar system, and I was frustrated. And then we get the fact that they had 6 episodes.
Yeah.
So that's 300 to 360 minutes. And at 20 to 30 to 40 of those minutes are used on establishing a new plot line.
We don't get to see fully developed. It's very frustrating.
There's
It's just Space Pet
I'm watching-
Cemetery.
she
It's
keeps-
Space Pet Cemetery.
She keeps calling them dogs.
Yeah.
And then I watched with the subtitles on,
Mm-hmm.
and it keeps saying purring on their noise, so that frustrated me.
You've never heard a dog purr?
I have not.
Well, then you haven't lived, sir.
And so I'm watching this, and I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Like, where are they go? Like, what is this kid gonna be? And then there's like 50 seconds of random off comments of this one guy staring into space,
Yeah, watching that
And they're like-
proto-molecule ship rebuild itself.
and they're like, "Sir, we finally got a
Resonance frequency or some...
like a communication from the
Yeah.
ship, or response, a communicative response." And he turns around, he's like, "Very good."
Yeah, and that's
Automatically.
after he was telling like the little girl, it's like, I would feel bad if I couldn't protect all of us. And then it turns out he's working with like Inaros the whole time to build railguns to control the gates.
Well, I
But
think
then
he probably. My assumption on that is he wanted
everybody
people not
distracted,
coming
so
through
no
the
one's
gate.
going to him. Yeah.
And then
so-
at the end, he sends a message.
Yeah.
Just a random cryptic message. "I'm gonna go kill a god."
But I have gods to kill.
It's
Yeah,
like,
I have gods to kill.
what gods? What are the entities? What is the proto-molecule?
This is where people who've read the books were like, well, if you've read. I mean, to be fair,
Maybe.
we're often those people. We just haven't read these books.
But I kind of want to now because I want to know what happens next on. So maybe I should just read the last ones.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I've thought about it, but I think at this point I've enjoyed the show too much. I think if I'm reading the books, I might be like, because their writing styles could only have gotten better. And
From what I understand, it actually, like, people were really worried they were going to kill off Avendas, the
Avasarala.
UN,
Yeah.
the UN Secretary General,
Yeah.
because she's still alive in the books at this point.
Okay.
And so people were really upset they were going to kill her off because it would have meant no more possibility of the Expanse.
No, they did a
following
good
the
job.
books.
They did a good job with. I really thought they were going to party wipe.
Well, I mean, fair enough.
I was like, they're like, all right, well, if we can't make our show, no one can. You know,
Well,
like,
when,
kind of like
when Bobby and Amos didn't die, I was actually like, I was kind of mad. I was like, so you're telling me that all these Martian soldiers instantly get obliterated by these armor-piercing rounds,
Yes.
and then she flies through a hail of bullets and launches her rockets,
She's
and then
in
gets
Martian armor.
and then gets covered by another guy.
Who's just in basic armor, by the way. Oh,
I
no.
think he was in Martian armor this time.
Well, they were all in Martian armor, but she's in like Martian Starship Trooper armor or whatever. She's in like the Marine armor. They're just in
No,
regular.
I believe the other ones were Marines
No,
too.
no,
They
she's
weren't.
the only one that had the Gatling gun attached to the wrist. The rest of them are just in your standard trooper. Remember, because there's this part in the season where Amos looks at Bobby and he's like, "How do I get one of those?" And she's like, "You just hurt yourself, small boy," or
Yes,
something
but,
like that.
but then in this last episode,
No, he
he's
doesn't.
going to he's going to put it on, and she goes, "Don't hurt yourself."
No, I think he's just wearing regular armor.
Okay.
I could be wrong. We could be wrong, but I thought he was wearing just regular armor. Actually, you know what? It doesn't matter because they were both wearing the only type of armor that matters: plot armor. But it was yeah. They got hit by so many bullets. And it's like
That had gone right through the other people.
I know they had just Swiss cheesed people, and now they're sitting there like, oh well, they're fine.
But once you took out the railguns, they no longer had railgun bullets.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, we had to destroy the one power facility powering all the railguns. You mean to tell me each railgun didn't have its own power source?
Haven't you seen any Star Wars movie?
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, you're right. Singular power sources, so easy. And then I was watching with my dad, and they're like, "What if we put too much critical mass in the ring? Inaro's fleet will be destroyed instantly." And I was like, if that was a plan this whole time, why are all these people dead?
Well, it wasn't because she came up with that on the fly.
I know, but they were already kind of he had already given the presentation about too much mass through it was going to ruin it, and then their plan was to throw a bunch of mass through the ring anyway.
Well, they wouldn't have been able to get close enough to throw mass through the ring if the railgun wasn't.
Yeah,
I-
it's fine.
I'm not arguing with the points of that.
I thought it
because-
was pretty cool, and they just flooded the radar with just everything. So you had your drop ships and the cargo containers,
Yeah.
and it was just like a whole mess, and the railguns can't hit everything. So I was like, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, that was. And then the other ships started joining in, and they were like, oh no.
Yeah, and then you got like those guys. My dad's like, where are these guys coming from that are just dropping out of the sky? I'm like, Dad, it's space. They're coming from the space station. He's like, oh yeah. But it was a bit much. It was the most Halo-esque firefight I've ever seen. Just
That's not
it was
a bad
fine.
thing.
I liked it, except for the plot armor part, which we already discussed. But
I mean, you can't.
you're
That's
kinda,
one of the frustrating things about TV shows is when they can't kill a main character.
you're limited by your source material, I guess. I don't know. It was fine though. I liked the way it ended, and if it came back like as a Expanse, the next generation, or I don't know, you tell me. Why not that? That's as good as anything else they've got. So Expanse 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Expansive Bulu.
Nah, they'll do something lazy like Expanse Part 2.
Or they'll just do Expanse.
Expanser.
Or they'll just do Expanse.
There'll be Expanse, Expanser, Expansist. There's your 3-part saga.
You excited for the new Game of Thrones series?
Ugh, God, no.
It's something about the dragon. I saw a commercial for it on HBO Max.
No, I'm not excited for that. Any last thoughts on The Expanse?
Oh yes, like I said, I do like the resolution of the Belter Martian human Earth conflict. I thought it was well done. The fact that they ruined Earth was pretty excessive.
That was awesome.
It was awesome, but I was like, no, stop it, please.
And like
They mentioned in the books, like Mars is still dependent on Earth resources, and
Yeah.
and the belt is dependent on like Mars and Earth's resources.
yeah,
like,
I'm like, you're right, because they kind of do, it all kind of falls apart after Earth gets destroyed for everyone. Like, and Aros is like, it's not such a big deal, but like he abandons people without food and water and stuff, and then destroys the water tanks, killing the Belters.
yeah.
Yeah, the one guy sets the charge that kills his own brother.
Well, he
It's
wanted
awesome.
them to think the Earth had done that.
Yes, well, backfired on him.
Well, yeah, kind of.
Because
Did it?
Yeah, because it motivates Drummer to bring supplies and
She
rally.
was already motivated.
Well, she was very motivated, but
It was like, I'm gonna kill this motherfucker.
yeah, because he killed Ashford, the old man.
I liked him.
He
I was
the
mad
best.
when he died.
Remember when he was singing the Belter song and he gets spaced?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Now here's the question I had. I don't remember. Did Marcos always have that Batman voice?
Beltalada.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I'm watching this season, I'm like, it's so jarring to hear the man go, "No, we must go and kill the Earthers and get all of the supplies, and until they are destroyed,
Well-
there is no belt."
Well, this takes place in the far future of us, and he had space COVID. It just
God, he's got space dementia.
space madness.
I think it was space dementia.
Was this space? I thought. I don't know. It's fun. I thought. Did they say space dementia? Space madness. I'm gonna have to look up the clip from Armageddon now, just to solve this stupid,
He's got space dementia.
this stupid joke. But yeah, overall, Expanse, very much worth watching. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I thought the finale, given the impossible task, we knew it wasn't going to wrap everything up, but at least it wrapped some stuff up.
I mean, even with 4 more episodes, they weren't going to wrap up the proto-molecule to my satisfaction.
No, there's nothing they could have done. And I think I appreciate them finishing at least one big story and teasing possible continuation, because you never really know in this day and age.
Yeah, I do think that, because I was upset that they left it open-ended. Because I was sitting there thinking it was like Game of Thrones, right?
Oh.
You get 1 more season, and why don't you actually take 2 more seasons? And they're like, no, we're good. We're gonna finish this definitively, and
Yeah.
it's not open ended in the slightest. Show over, because now you can't come back to us.
That's the difference between good showrunners, though, because the Game of Thrones finale, and I know some people are now like, it's not that bad. No, it is that bad. It's that bad, and it's that bad from a behind the scenes, and it's that bad from a creative thing. If you want to make one of your protagonists heel turn, you gotta spend your time and set it up right, or you gotta give them a more powerful motivation for it. Like, oh god, we're getting into everything.
She's
here.
got dragon dementia.
Yeah, sort of. Like, I mean, you don't even need a lot for like a character to explain a character away. I mean, take a look at like the Little Mermaid. I bring up quite a bit, but think about it. Like, we barely know who Ursula is. She gets a 2.5-minute song or however long it is. We know everything about Ursula, and the plot has changed. You know, like Daenerys doesn't even get a musical number. Maybe if they'd given her a musical number about wanting to burninate everything, I would have enjoyed that more. But with The Expanse, at least, it did feel like there was a concentrated effort to, like, all right, let's cap this. You know, it's like we don't have to solve everything. And it kind of fits into that idea that the universe is so much bigger than just the singular story we're telling, which I think I liked. Plus, I'm kind of hopeful that maybe it finds a second life in a couple years or somewhere else.
Well, now that I've seen that ending, I do want more.
Yeah, it works. I'm not going to go
Which is a little
clickety-clackety.
frustrating, because usually I like story. If I'm going to watch a finale, I want it to wrap up the stories. I mean, like, typically.
Oh, speaking of things that are about to ruin finales, did you hear they're bringing Justified back?
My friend linked me that article.
They're going to set it
My
in
friend linked me
Detroit.
that article, and I said, I quote, "Boo."
Yeah.
And they go, "Why? That show's so good." I was like, because they're bringing it back unnecessarily.
I got you! Now!
Stop! Stop! He's already dead.
It has the best final scene of like any show.
I know, but to be fair,
Dylan
I
sent
did
me
read the
a
article.
joke and it said, "We welded Fords together." And I said, "We filed unemployment together." Because it's in Detroit.
Yes, very funny. No, but
I thought so.
I mean, to be fair, the article I read, it is another Elmore Leonard story. It is another novel by him, and I believe Raylan Gibbons is the main character.
Is he older in it though? Because we've really lost the narrative thread in the Expanse.
I mean, he's gonna be old. Timothy Oliphant's gonna be older in it. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
But it is another. It's done by the showrunner. It is another book by the writer of Raylan Gibbons.
Yeah, but is it necessary?
No.
Just because it exists doesn't mean it's necessary.
I agree. However, that doesn't mean that it's going to be bad.
Though here I am saying, hey, there's more Expanse books. Some
Well, I
follow-up
mean-
would be nice.
I mean, it's not like they're going to expand the Boyle story. They're going to expand the Boyle story,
yeah.
motherfucker. But it's not like they have to expand the Boyle story.
Boyd. Boyle's from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Same thing.
Maybe they should have expanded his story into the crossover. You hear me, execs out there? Are justified in Brooklyn Nine-Nine crossover. But
Boyle shows up to his next family reunion. Oh no.
it's just Boyd Crowder. Yeah. Be careful what you have, where you sit at the dinner table. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, so I guess that long winding road brings us to The Expanse. I liked it. I would appreciate more of it in due time. They don't need to rush it. Don't ruin it. If this is all they're going to do, it's fine. I thought I was pleased with it. I was pleased with it.
And yeah, I was too. It's just I wanted more alien shit. Like humans are boring.
Didn't you expect those dog things to stand up on their hind legs or something like that?
I expect them to like talk.
Also, you know what they look like? They look like the things from Independence Day almost. Don't like the things inside the exoskeleton?
Not really.
If you put them on all four and gave them two tails?
But no, I was expecting them to talk, Derek.
Oh yeah, that would have been cool.
Like hello, or like psychically. Hello, human child. I have fixed your human child.
Sister. But with lips like that, I expected them to do something else. I'm going to edit that part out. Note to future self. Cut it. So,
And you have watched two white men discuss a show.
hey, we did a pretty good job not talking about race. You're welcome, Internet. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. That was good.